You can mute me if it's loud.
We're live, pal.
All right, everybody. We are just 29 minutes away from the beginning of UFC 256. So we thought, you know what? We didn't do a live preview show yesterday. We're going to do a live Q&A with all of you guys as we get ready for this pretty loaded up card. It's going to kick off with Peter Barrett versus Chase Hooper at 7:30 Eastern time. It's going to end with a flyweight title fight between Davis and FIgueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I am Mike Hack, being joined in Las Vegas on location by Jose Youngs, all set up in the very festive media room in Las Vegas. We got Alex K. Lee, we got E. Casey Lyden, Jose in the holiday spirit. So listen, here's the deal. This is your show. This is kind of like a little mini A-side. So any questions, thoughts, comments about this card tonight that you want us to I can't even is that a snowman, Jose? What is that? It's a snowbird.
Snowbird.
It's a snowbird. That's adorable. That is adorable. So yes, all we're gonna do for the next 28 minutes or so is just talk about this card. You guys dictate where we're gonna go. So we're gonna try something new. If it works, we'll keep doing it. If not, you know, one and done. We gave it a whirl. But Jose, what's the vibe like in Vegas right now? I see the Schmo back there with his Schmo varsity Letterman's jackets. What's the vibe in there right now besides the holiday music blaring in the background?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can hear that, I'm about 5 feet away from this massive speaker that they normally play the broadcast over, so you can hear the broadcast. Instead, they're blasting Christmas music. The UFC PR team decorated this entire place. Like, the door says like welcome and has snowmen and Santa Claus all over it. We have, like you saw, these Christmas decorations all over. I'm sure you'll see at the post-fight press conference. They have two big giant baskets of poinsettia flowers on either side of the podium. The spread in the back is like Christmas trees and Christmas cookies. They gave us all, everyone here, a little package with like a thank you for everything you did this year. It's like a little thing, and it gave us a mug. So it's a festive scene here in the UFC media room.
It sure seems that way. Casey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay.
Sun's out, guns out?
Yeah. Just I did my little had my little Saturday pre-fight workout. Took a little nap, and then like, hey guys, let's do a live show. I'm like, okay, so got my oat milk nitro latte. So
All right, and AK, how are you, my friend?
Let's do some deadlifts.
I'm
bro.
great. I'm excited. I'm excited to answer some questions. I don't think I was kind of hosting the weigh-in stream yesterday. I don't think I wanted to answer any questions yesterday, so we can make up for that today.
Yes.
Excited.
And I don't know. Are things coming in, Casey?
Oh, yeah,
this kind of dropped last minute.
We got some stuff.
Yeah, let's get right after this. Let's
right.
give this 26 minutes to the peeps before the first punch is thrown. Who should I would say? Okay, who should Ghana fight if he beats JDS Biggie Boy? So I guess he's suggesting, AK, we'll start with you. If Cyril Ghana defeats Junior Dos Santos tonight, should he fight Jairzinho Rosenstrike next, or do you have another idea? Jose shaking his head, but AK will start with you.
It's not a terrible pick. Jairzinho also just beat JDS, so I guess you just go okay, they beat the same guy. Now you could probably. It still seems a little too soon. Though I also thought JDS was too soon. So this is one of those things where if he wins, it's kind of gonna mess up his trajectory. It's not a bad thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being in your fourth UFC fight and then being launched into like the top 5, top 6, top 7. Gosh, what's Alexander Volkov up to? That's a tough fight too.
Fighting over.
Oh,
yeah, he's booked.
Oh God! Well, now I'm thinking the winner. Man, the winner of that fight might make more sense. Jairzinho. I don't mind. And Walt Harris is also booked, right? Walt Harris is fighting. Help me, guys. You guys
not booked.
Jose, he's not booked.
He's not booked.
But that would feel like a step back from JDS, though, wouldn't it?
Well, since AK Lee has never watched MMA before,
Go ahead, Jose. Go ahead.
Jairzinho to fight the winner of Overeem and Volkov. Because Overeem was what, like 10.
I just said that.
Fight?
I just said that.
What, you still talking, bro? Or he could, I know.
Jose, spicy.
Blagoy Ivanov's out there. I think Tanner Bozer's fighting Greg Hardy. Andrei Arlovsky obviously gets a lot of these prospects coming up. I don't know if you want to see Andrei Arlovsky get decapitated again. Pavlovich is there, so Augusto Sakai. But I don't want him anywhere near Overeem Volkov yet, just because I selfishly want. I think Overeem wins that fight, and I want Overeem to rematch Jairzinho real bad, just because there was like if you remember the first fight, Jairzinho took that fight on real short notice after the tragedy in Walt Harris's life. Like, I asked him backstage in Madison Square Garden, like, you want to fight Overeem in like 2 weeks? He's like, yeah, okay. And then they did, and you could kind of see Overeem didn't have a game plan for him. Jairzinho went in there and did what he could and broke Overeem's face open with about 10 seconds left. So if that hadn't happened, Overeem probably would have won that fight, and he probably could have gotten a rematch with Francis Ngannou for number one contenders fight. So I want to save Jairzinho for the winner of Overeem and Volkov, but there's a lot of fun fights for Cyril Gane to take. But he has to get through Junior Dos Santos.
Okay, great. The question was about Cyril Gane, but well done. Good rant. Okay. Casey, go ahead.
If Mr. Gain wins, Mr. Gain, I kind of like the I want to actually slow roll him a little bit and actually give him someone like Arlovsky. I think Arlovsky a bit of a showcase fight. I think right now JDS is fighting someone way behind. It's a big jump up for Gagne, and I think I like Arlovsky. Arlovsky just having that win over Tanner Boser. I think that's what I would like for him.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how he does it. Like, if he goes out there tonight and starches JDS in like 30 seconds and just has a highlight reel knockout, I don't think Arlovsky makes any sense. They're going to have to kind of push him. I don't know. It all depends. I think Gane is a really tough prospect. It's tough throwing him in against a number 7 ranked JDS, a former champion. If he goes in there and finishes him, it's kind of hard to justify Arlovsky or anybody back there. But I agree, it's hard. It's a tough spot for him to be in, because I don't want to rush him too soon. But at the same time, once you get to like the latter half of the top 15, there's really not much that makes a lot of sense for him.
I mean Gagne's Gagne. Gana's last victory was a decision victory over Tanner Boser. So I mean, I think they have common opponents. Whatever.
Once you get into that top 10, it's almost all veteran guys or guys who should be I don't think Curtis Blade should have to fight Cyril Gane right now if he beats it doesn't make sense for a lot of guys ahead of him, the young around his age ahead of him to fight him. So it almost has to be another veteran. I kind of agree with what Casey's saying. Like, it will probably be another veteran test, which is really what most of the top 10 is anyway. So, but yeah, Matt Badbury, that's actually a really good question. Obviously, Mike and I would have probably.
What about Ben Rothwell? I don't think he's ranked. He doesn't have a fight.
Yeah, sure. And that would have been a more appropriate matchup, I think, than Junior Dos Santos, right? That's why I think it's kind of a weird question. If he beats JDS, does it still make sense to book him against a Rothwell? I wouldn't have a problem with it, frankly, if that's what they did if he wins tonight.
Who did Rothwell lose to? I forget, in Fight Island.
Tabura. Oh.
Tabura.
Yeah, Tabura was his last fight.
Yeah, I think Tabura's fighting Greg Hardy, right?
Yes. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I mean,
all right. Thank you, Matt. Yay! Bang bang, Crystal Gang. I was looking at you the whole time, AK. How is he gonna react to this? Jessica, the best. Our friend, always on aboard the train here. I appreciate that.
All right.
What else we got?
What do we got, Casey? I see a lot of people asking for predictions. Oh,
is Tony's ground game a match for Oliveira's? Casey, let me start with you, since you're the man. You had your pre-event workout in. You like to roll around and train. Is Tony's ground game a match for Oliveira's?
I think if it was a straight jiu-jitsu match, I think Oliveira would win. But no, of course, this is MMA. We got crazy elbows on the ground. We have just everything. So Tony's ground game and match Oliveira's. I'm actually predicting Oliveira 3rd round submission. That's my actual prediction for this fight. I think Oliveira is going to wear him out, and I think he will win. He will win a submission no, it'll take some elbowing, some blooding up Tony to eventually submit him. But I am picking Oliveira. So yes, no. Tony's ground game is not match for Oliveira. I do think Oliveira will finish him eventually on the ground.
What do you think, AK?
Jose, has anyone come close to submitting Ferguson in the UFC? I don't think so, right? He's been close to being finished, but not submitted. I don't think.
Yeah, and most recently, I think Kevin Lee had full mount on him at one point.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. In the end, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with how Casey started his statement, which was in MMA, it's such a different thing to compare people's ground games because Tony is so tough. He's a master of scrambling. On the ground, like again, in a pure grappling contest, there's not that many at 155 who are a match for Oliveira. I mean, he's just so deadly. He's so deadly and he's so precise down there. That's kind of the scary thing about someone like him is the methodical way with which he gets his submissions, right? I mean, he's just and add that to his physical gifts, it's just terrifying. But I just can't imagine Ferguson. Casey's predicting a third round submission. I can't imagine him tapping out. I don't know why. It's just not in my head. I know he's done it once in his career, way before the UFC. But in my mind, I can't picture it. Which doesn't mean that he can't be controlled on the ground. This could be how Oliveira wins the fight. He could be winning the ground exchanges. It could go to a decision, and Oliveira could win that way. But I will say, as far as MMA goes, I do think Tony has the ground game to match Oliveira's and not get submitted. I don't think he could submit Oliveira. Not that hasn't happened to Oliveira before, but I don't think that's how Tony would win, unless it was he hurt him with a striking first and then submitted him, which happens in MMA all the time to good jiu-jitsu guys. But I'll lean towards yes, he is a match, which is not to say better, but yes, I'll say is a match.
Jose, do you think Snap Jitsu compares to Jiu-Jitsu? Question from Suzanne when it comes to this co-main event tonight.
In a straight up grappling match, like I would favor Charles Oliveira pretty heavily. But with like Tony Ferguson's crazy elbows and knees, and like Tony Ferguson is not a guy that gives up. Like his body will fail him, but he's gonna try to keep moving. He turns into that zombie mode where we're like, how is this human being even like? Remember, Justin Gaethje finished him, but Tony Ferguson was still on his feet when the referee stepped in. So yeah, in a straight up grappling match, I agree with Casey. I would favor Charles Oliveira, but in MMA world. Tony Ferguson just brings all kinds of nonsense that, like, what was he doing? Like walking down the stairs on all fours, like doing handstands with no, like headstands against the wall to strengthen his neck. So who knows what Tony Ferguson is going to do?
Yeah, he's such a madman. Unbelievable. So we got a little over 16 minutes away before things kick off on ESPN Plus. ESPN2. What is Tony is going to destroy
Dotton be a casual.
Dotton be a casual.
Guys. Dotton be a casual. How could you guys?
First of all, no casuals, no Charles Oliveira. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So,
well, I think that's what he's saying. I believe that's the point.
Tony's gonna destroy. Well, why wouldn't he casual pick the guy? Why wouldn't he casual pick?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, that makes no sense. Okay, thanks, Victor T.
Yeah, I think most people are in agreement that this is a fight that Tony Ferguson should win. Like, he should win this fight. But you're not as confident as you may have been like a year ago. You know what I mean? Like, when you take a beating like he took in the Gaethje fight, there's probably only one guy that could maybe come through on the other side of that, like nothing happened, and it would be Tony Ferguson. But we just don't know. We just don't know.
And when you saw how Oliveira had that breakthrough performance against Kevin Lee in the main event. That was the first kind of pandemic card, I think, too. Was there a crowd for that fight?
No.
That one. So I think this may be Ferguson's lowest point and Oliveira's hottest point, right now. So
yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, we'll see. 15 minutes away. Get your questions in. Al Mack, our good friend. Yeah. Does Sam Hughes have any chance against Tisha Torres? AK, we'll begin with you here.
It's MMA, so yes. Would I put any amount of money on it? I wouldn't. Tisha is so solid. If there's any fighter who I would be in her division who I'd be shocked, like would get caught by something from a UFC newcomer, it would be Tisha Torres. She's just aside, obviously, from, the very, very top of the division. She's just so consistent. She's seen it all. She's fought all kinds of different styles. Sam Hughes is very talented. I think most people, if they would want to take a long shot pick on her, would imagine some sort of scramble, some sort of situation where she is able to get her hands on Tisha and go for one of those chokes. She has very, very strong chokes. But otherwise, I never seen anyone do that to Tisha. I don't think that Sam Hughes is the person to do it on less than a week's preparation. Tisha is not going to take her lightly. She's going to treat her. There's probably, a little bit of letdown, but otherwise she's going to treat her just as seriously as she would Angela Hill. And I think Tisha Torres by decision is probably one of the safest picks on this card.
Yeah, Jose, I mean, looking at the card and the lines, I think there's a lot of very interesting live underdogs in this card. Sam Hughes, no disrespect, is probably not one of them. But, I mean, This is MMA, Jose. We say this all the time. Anybody can beat anybody at any given time. But 1% chance, 2% chance Sam Hughes tonight, or are you giving it a little more credence?
Like somewhere between 1% and 5%. I mean, it's MMA. I don't know a lot about Miss Hughes, so it's not like I don't want to speak without all the information on her. I think that would be irresponsible. But Tisha's only lost to the best of the best and has beaten everyone else, and I just don't know enough about Miss Hughes to make an assessment on how the fight would play out. So yeah, I favor Tisha pretty heavily, but probably know Sam Hughes is a future world champion and the greatest female fighter of all time. So yeah, 1% to 5% chance, I guess.
Tisha Torres, of course, the biggest favorite on the card, -620. Casey, your thoughts?
On Tapology, which is just straight pick'ems by the fans, Sam Hughes has the lowest probability of winning, at 12% of fans picking her to win. So, but also only 12% of fans pick Brandon Moreno to win too. So it's just,
wow.
No, not a lot of love in Tapology for Brandon Moreno. But Tisha Torres should absolutely steamroll Sam Hughes.
All right, thank you, Al. I think we're all good. Best of luck to both ladies.
Of course.
Who do you have between Tucker and Billy Q? Thank you, Elias. Casey, we'll begin with you. Tucker versus Billy Q, low key, very fun fight. It's definitely my top 3 in terms of fight of the night nominees before the event begins. So, what do you think? Who do you like in that one?
I'm just a big fan of Billy Q. I like his style. I like him on the mic. He's just a nice new personality at 145 in the sport. I don't really have a real reason to pick, honestly, why I'm picking Billy Q over Tucker. Honestly, I think these two guys are just kind of hitting their prime, and they're just two high level prospects about to punch each other. So I'm picking Billy Q. I don't really have a strong reason why, to be honest.
Jose, your thoughts on this very exciting fight at 145 tonight?
Well, whenever I think a fight is 50-50, the thing that normally pushes it to one fighter's favor is just vast experience. And yeah, Billy Q has looked pretty awesome lately, but he's only been fighting for 5-6 years. Because how long has Gavin Tucker been fighting? Almost 10 years. If not for those like the serious injuries he sustained, stands of Rick Glenn and the fallout from that, he probably would have had a lot more fights in the UFC if he hadn't gotten injured. And he took like almost 2 years off, two and a half years off, and came and just got back-to-back submission victory. So anyone that can take career-threatening injuries and come back and get back-to-back stoppage wins in Edmonton, no less, where he suffered those injuries, that pushes it slightly towards Gavin Tucker in my mind, but this is a 50-50 fight and a definite dark horse for fight of the night.
All right, AK, what do you think?
I went with so I have a reverse bias when it comes to Canadians, so I'm always hesitant to pick Canadians, which is probably why I'm leaning towards Billy Quarantillo. I've just been burned. I've been burned too many times by rooting for my countrymen. But obviously, Gavin Tucker's a hell of a talent, fighting out of Nova Scotia by way of Newfoundland. So, the fan part of me is kind of rooting for him. I know we shouldn't do that as media members, but also, look, Billy Quarantillo is just a hell of a talent. I kind of have the same problem as Casey. Skill-wise, I think these guys are very, very even. I think they're both trending in the right direction. They both looked really, really impressive finishing fights and against I think decent competition too. So this is kind of this is a pivotal fight for both guys. Whoever wins is ready to step up now into like the top 30, top 25, or get those kinds of opponents. I mean, and then it's a really, really deep division. But because of my bias, my anti-bias, I have to go against the Canadians. So. I am not waving my Canadian flag on this one. So Billy Quarantillo, go for it. I hope Jose is right, but I am picking Billy Q.
I'm with Billy Q too. I think he gets it done. I think he's paid more dues at this point. Like I know Tucker's fought longer, but Billy Q just being on tough and learning from that whole experience and then just going on the regional scene and just running off a bunch of wins. And now he has the chance to be 4-0 in the UFC this year. Awesome story. I just think Billy Q just is a little tougher at this point. Gavin's no joke. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on, but I love this matchup. I think this is more of a crossroads fight in terms of where these guys go than the Ferguson Oliveira fight. I know that. I just think that's where it's at. Who's going to take that next step? I love this fight for that reason. So we got about 8.5 minutes to go before Peter Barrett versus Chase Hooper goes down at the Apex. So get those questions in, get those comments. Appreciate you checking us out. First time. MMA Arts.
Hold on.
Hold
on, I gotta get this. Wait, get this lined up right. Yeah, there we go.
All right. Do you think that Mackenzie Dern has what it takes to be a future champion and to hang with top contenders like Joanna, Rose, or Wei Lee? Casey, we'll start with you on this one. I know Mackenzie Dern is one half of the Casey main event tonight between Dern and John DeRoba. Let's say Mackenzie Dern wins tonight and looks really good doing it, do you think that she has what it takes to be a future champion and could potentially hang with some of the top ladies in this loaded division?
Well, it seems the word of the week is crossroads. So to me, if we're going to crossroads, Mackenzie Dern is at a crossroads. She is fighting, to me, the best jiu-jitsu player in the strawweight division tonight. I expect Jan Jaroba to win this fight. But if Mackenzie Dern does win this fight and wins it impressing, I cannot talk anymore. If she wins this fight tonight, submits Jan Jaroba, or just all around just out mixed martial arts her, yeah, she will be. She does have what it takes to be a future champion. I think Jan Jaroba is that good. We just don't know it yet.
Jose, what do you think of this fight? And if Mackenzie Dern wins, where does she go?
Well, I mean, to answer the question specifically, sure, she could. She's very talented in one very specific area of martial arts, and that is jiu-jitsu. But she just, like Casey said, happens to be fighting maybe the only person in the entire female division, featherweight all the way down to strawweight, that's probably better than her at jiu-jitsu. Which is saying a lot considering how decorated of a grappler Mackenzie Dern is. So I do think Jan Jaroba is a future chance, or at least a title contender at some point down the line. I know Pat Down Suarez is out there floating in the closet with the boogie woman of this division. But where does she go if she wins? I don't know. You could toss her in with the Claudias and the Carlos Esparza's, Michelle Waterson, the Angela Hills of the world. I think at that point, if she beats Jan Jaroba, she's cemented herself as a contender, and we're not talking about the possibility of her being a contender, just cement her as a legitimate contender. So I think the first she has to win, get that rest of the paycheck, and then we can talk about that.
Fair enough. AK, what do you think? Let me ask you this. You can give your take on this question if you'd like, but normally when we see matchups like this, you got two high-level jiu-jitsu players, two high-level prospects who share sort of the same common theme. One, and normally you're like, oh, this is going to be a great grappling match between these two ladies. But normally in these situations, as much as we get excited about it, it turns out to be a striking match between the two of them. Do you see this going that way? Do you think the majority of this fight will play out on the feet tonight?
Yeah, Mike, I'm the prince of positivity, but I do think we might not get to see these two utilize sort of their elite skill, their elite jiu-jitsu skill for the majority of the bout. I do think it's going to be a lot of striking. It could be a little sloppy. And my predictions, I likened it to Askren and Damian Maia, which, by the way, was one of my favorite fights of the last year. So I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it could be a little sloppy. What grappling there is could be. I mean, there should be some grappling, obviously. When we're talking about these two, that's my expert opinion, by the way. That two jiu-jitsu aces there'll be some grappling. Yeah, I know that's why people come to our show. But no, I think they're neutralized there. I think we'll get an entertaining and sloppy fight, and a one that's important for Mackenzie Dern win or lose. Sorry to bring it back to the original question, because if you're going to be a champion, sometimes you're not going to, you're going to show what you can do when you don't have your best ability, or your best ability is neutralized by an opponent. So even if she fights to a competitive decision here, and by the way, Jan Jaroba is not no great shakes on the feet either, but if Mackenzie Dern wins, or at least puts on a really competitive, kind of entertaining fight on the feet, I think that goes a long way towards saying whether she can be a future champ. It's just really tough because she joined the UFC after maybe 6 or 7 pro fights, or less, something like that, 4 or 5 pro fights, and she's been learning on the fly ever since. And that rarely works out in the UFC. It happens. It's certainly possible. It can be done. and she has the talent for it. But we've seen a lot of people come in with little and maybe well early, and then a couple of speed bumps, and it really derails their growth. And the UFC is not good at getting fighters back on track. That is not one of the things that the UFC excels at. So I do worry that if she loses this fight, they won't know how to match her up to get her back on track. But regardless, I am picking her to win tonight, and I do think she will at least be a future title challenger, if not a future champion.
Agreed. I like all your takes. All right, so we got like 3.5 minutes to go. Rapid fire. Let's get through these. Casey, this is your question. Which octagon size is being used today? We already know it's going to be the small cage. Why do you like the small cage better, Casey?
Because
wax poetically.
Angles. Big cages have bigger angles, wider angles. If you can corner people, that means you can hit them. If they have big angles, a big circular cage like Bellator has, which is it's the same fight, but it's just less action. So guys like actually a fighter like Tisha Torres does phenomenal in those big cages because she with her little feet and her great footwork, she can just circle around the cage. So those small angles make for more action. That's why I love rings. So the apex cage is the closest we can get to a ring besides an hexagon.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Well, this will be a Jose question. Ooh, Jose is Tony Dunn if he doesn't beat Oliveira. That is
from WAF.
That's
Donkable.
No. So he loses to the person with the second most stoppages in the history of the UFC. I think he'll be okay if he loses. He's not losing to an unranked fighter. He's losing to the man with more submissions than anyone else in UFC history, second most stoppages than anyone else in UFC history, and one of the most winning fighters in the history of the UFC. So I think if Tony losing to Charles Oliveira is nothing to hang your head at. I think Charles Oliveira is so much better than his ranking. He's still so highly ranked. He just hasn't been able to get fights that he wants. So no, he's not done if he loses.
all right.
Now, if Charles Oliveira knocks it dead in like a minute, then we can talk about it. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, Tony Ferguson will always have a place in this sport. He's just that crazy and that wild, and he's that good.
I think we're all going to say no. Tony's fine if he loses. But actually, back to what Jose said. What were Oliveira's stats? Most finishes, most what? What was it?
Second most finishes, first most submissions, one of the most winning fighters, all that stuff.
Is Charles Oliveira one fight away from almost being just a surefire Hall of Famer, even if he doesn't, if he never gets a title shot?
Maybe.
Is he friends with Dana White? That's my question. How close is he with Dana White?
Like Frank Shamrock's out of the UFC Hall of Fame. So what are we talking about?
Well, let's assume there's no politics to get in. I mean Charles Oliveira. I mean, those are unbelievable stats you just said for Charles Oliveira, a guy that casuals have no idea who he is. I just think that's pretty incredible that we talk about Tony Ferguson already as like one of the greatest lightweights ever, but Charles Oliveira to me seems like he's only one win away from actually being in that same category.
I think the problem with those two is a lot of, like, talking about lightweight in general, Charles Oliveira spent a vast majority of his UFC career at featherweight, missing weight. Tony Ferguson has pretty much spent a whole thing at lightweight outside of winning tough at welterweight.
All right, 30 seconds.
All right, so we got 30 seconds. All right, this is what we're going to do. All right, AK, start with you. Co-main event, Ferguson or Oliveira? Who you picking?
Ferguson.
Jose.
Tony.
Casey.
The Bronx.
I'm going Ferguson. Main event. AK. Who walks out as the champion?
Figgy.
Jose.
The assassin, baby.
Oh. I am also picking the assassin, baby. Craziness. I just got this feel. I got no technical or competitive insight to this whatsoever, or am I confident in that sense? But I have a feeling that something weird is going to happen tonight, and that Brandon Moreno, goateed Brandon Moreno, is going to have that title wrapped around his waist. I don't know. I just have that feeling. I could be wrong. Casey, your pick. Let's take it out home.
And the assassin champion.
Wow. AK is blown away. As am
All
I.
three of you.
I thought I was going to be the guy.
Goodness.
All right. Well, there you go. This is the first time we did this. If you guys dug it, let us know, and we'll do it again. That's all we'll do. That's how we'll spend the 30 minutes before these cards begin. So we will be back later, of course. I mean, we're going to be around all night. UFC 256 about to kick off. We'll have the press conferences after going live. We'll have the post-fight show live. We're going to be with you probably for the next 9 hours or so. So for AK, Jose in Vegas, Casey Line in Inglewood, I am Mike Heck. Enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you a little bit later on.
How do you wave? Casey, how do I wave?
You're doing it wrong.